Third line? How does that come to life?
So, so basically I came back 2001. I've now sort of been doing, these things, parties / exhibitions in parties. We're doing like takeovers of a bar. All our friends would come. The group was growing from just us. And then we did these things at the Trade Center. So because we had memories of because Dubai, you have to understand, when we came back was also changing. Suddenly it was a new Dubai. New buildings, new spaces. So we were already at that point going to what we considered was old Dubai. The emphasis was on bringing a group of people together with music, food, art, just to hang out, to be able to sit down, and because there weren't places for us to go to. And so it did start very small, and then it grew to this point where actually it did become formalized.
So was a part of it kind of trying to bring your different city experiences and bring it together and kind of let it take on the flavor and the spices of the context that you're in, and also you in your natural habitat.
Exactly.
In resistance to the way that things were done elsewhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
Without really knowing that that's what you were doing.
100%. And because we didn't know what we were doing, we were just doing it. And then when Shihab and Shahi opened 5 Green, it had a little space in there, and they kindly allowed me to then, because I was doing shows all over Dubai at that point, in just hotel lobbies and anywhere that I could, get a space for free. And
this is Sunny doing these shows.
Sunny,
and selling these works and kind of turning it into a mini entrepreneurial.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know really what was going to happen. I wasn't necessarily making money doing this, so but much to my parents, they were like, "Is this your job?" I'm like, "Well, yes, it's gonna, things are gonna happen," and they were like. Okay.
Hold your breath.
Yes. So basically, that happened. So then when 5 Green opened, then I had more of a permanent space to do shows, and I regularly, did things there. And the last show I did there was Home is Where the Heart Is, and it was a group show. And right after that, I met Omar because of that show, and then I met Claudia. Shortly after that, and then that was the last. Yeah, that was the last show I did on my own, and then the third line arrives. Yeah, so I guess by then people had started learning about me and my shows, and I don't know, but somehow maybe I had already met Fatima through Sauce, because they were about to start Sauce, her and Zayan. So there was and Dubai was small, so they'd come. She'd seen the show. They really loved this Rockney painting that I had actually had consigned through Isabel.
Rockney Hayazadeh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Isabel had already started going to Iran then, and Isabel was in town. I knew her, and she was, working already, bringing Rockney and Ramin's works. So anyway, they bought this amazing Rockney, and those days I really was a one-woman show. I would deliver and also hang.
So you were like a broker. You were a curator. You were also like an art handler.
Everything,
designer,
installer,
insurance. So you're also being an advocate for the city, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
hey, believe in this place.
Exactly, and a lot of artists at the beginning, it was not easy to convince them to do a show in Dubai necessarily, because they were also like, Dubai, but what is there, and where will do you have a space, and will it be? There was a lot of questions around why they should come here. So so I feel like that care that you saw was also because they trusted us, we trusted them, and that's probably what came through.
And you cared also about the city.
Of course, yes, of course, and we believed in this city. I mean, beyond the fact that it was my home, it really, even if you took all of the data out, it made so much sense to be in Dubai at this time, because there wasn't anywhere else in the region that you could do what we did. And I always say that. I think it's a testament to the city that we were able to even be here now, having this interview 20 years later, because it allowed us to dream and create and experiment and succeed and fail and succeed and continue. Like, we were able to do that because we were in Dubai and in this region. I think there's very few places that we could have done that in. The space was a very dynamic space, the first one, so we did a lot of, programming in there. And one of the things was showing films, because there was nowhere you could see them. So actually, I was so happy that you were thinking at that time of doing what you're now doing amazingly and brilliantly, because I was like, this is exactly what we're also missing. I feel so honored that Shimon wanted to do the Third Line 20-year anniversary exhibition. I mean, Shimon is an incredibly talented person that I'm very lucky to call my friend. We knew we were turning 20, we wanted to celebrate, we wanted to do a show, but we would have never been able to conceive this show. I mean, the way that he's conceived it with this, there's many sections to it, but like the one part is the show itself, which is each one of our artists over the 20 that we represent and that we still work with. And also he's done a timeline that corresponds with these sort of 5-year blocks, so 4 blocks of 5 years, which is the 20 years of the Third Line. And that corresponds with what was happening in the Middle East, in the world. So if you walk around, you'll see this timeline on the ground, which corresponds with what you're seeing, the works on the wall. So which is also really interesting, how artists, what were artists making at that time. So it's really, what I liked about it, it's not just about the Third Line and the Third Line artists, it was about what's happening in this 20 years, of time. And like he says, it's a lot of people's 20-year anniversary. So he was sort of paying tribute to that. It's also his 20-year anniversary of moving to Dubai. So there's a lot of histories that are revealed, also a lot of research.
So this is like a space of knowledge, it's continuous, and it's also, like you were saying about Munir, there is so much more to give and so much more to do. Do you feel that that's where you're at, looking at the space around you, looking at 20 years, sitting here on the new years ahead?
Yeah, the doors are still open. I would love to do, I don't know what the next 20 years are going to bring, but I hope that, we get to do, our best in what we can do. I want to bring back a little bit more the sense of community. I feel like that is something that's important. I think that, I want to do more programming. I want to do more collaborations. Thank you, Butheina. I'm going to cry. Thank you. Thanks.